The Nintendo Switch 2, the console that set the freaking world on fire. Whether you're hyped for it and everybody calls you a Nintendo shill, or you're really upset about it because of the pricing, whether it be for the console itself or the games that are coming out. This might be the most divisive launch of a console ever. But what's going on, everybody? My name is Kneeckoh and welcome to the channel. Today, I want to talk about if I actually think the Switch 2 is in fact overpriced and if the games are overpriced. I'm going to give all my thoughts and opinions on this because this is, like I said, an extremely divisive topic, and it has people all over the place. It has been all over the internet, different memes and stuff coming out saying that this is the new Wii U. It's a crazy time for Nintendo. But let's start off with the console itself. Let's talk about the console prices. So there are two versions of the console that are coming out. They are the exact same as far as their style, their aesthetic. They look the exact same. The difference is one includes Mario Kart World and the other does not. The base console without Mario Kart World is going to cost you $450 US, and the Mario Kart bundle is going to be $500 or $499.99 in the US. So you're basically getting $30 off of what the $80 Mario Kart would be. Pretty good deal, in my opinion. I think that this is pretty reasonable. I expected when they announced that the Switch 2 Direct was happening, the price would be anywhere from the $400 to $500 range. So I was right on the money with where I expected this console to actually land when they announced it. Now, as far as the console is actually concerned, I think most people are on the same page where most people aren't upset about the console price itself. Some people would like to see it come down. It is a fairly pricey system. It's rivaling the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5, which is actually going up in price. We'll talk about that later potentially. But the price of the system is rivaling its competitors. I'm not incredibly shocked by this. I think it makes a lot of sense with what the system is actually capable of doing, but it is a lot of money, and it is something that some people are hoping comes down, especially with the delay on the pre-orders due to the tariffs and everything happening with the Trump administration. But the question really is this console overpriced? I see a lot of people comparing this to the Steam Deck for starters, and let's just take a look at what the Steam Deck actually costs. So currently there are three different options of the Steam Deck available on the market right now. There's a 256 gigabyte LCD that is 1280 by 800 LCD display, smaller than the Nintendo Switch, and it doesn't run games at 4K or 60 FPS. That is $400. The next model up is the 512 gigabyte OLED version of the Steam Deck, and that is still a 1280 by 800 HDR OLED display, and again, does not run games at 4K 60 FPS. And we have the 1 terabyte option that is $650. All of these do not hit that 4K 60 FPS that the Nintendo Switch is hitting, and it just doesn't run games as powerfully. I have a Steam Deck personally, and while it is a fantastic piece of hardware, I think this is a great system, it does struggle to run some of these higher power games, and the battery life that you're getting on this thing is not incredibly high. Now, I will say the battery life on the new Nintendo Switch is about the same as what you get on a Steam Deck. It's going to be anywhere from 2 to 6 hours depending on the game that you're playing. The benefit of the Nintendo Switch is you can dock it. You don't have to play that thing handheld all the time. While the Steam Deck can be docked and output games to 4K resolution, if docked, it doesn't help the problem of the games not running well while at 4K. It limits the system processing. It makes it very, very sketchy on what games are actually going to work at that fidelity on the system, versus the Nintendo Switch is going to be running very smoothly from everything that we've seen from the hands-on previews for the docked 4K version of the Switch. Not to mention the Switch also can just do 1080, 120 FPS docked. That's a huge advantage for the Switch. So if we're going just based off the Steam Deck alone, the Switch pricing seems pretty appropriate. Another popular handheld right now is the Asus ROG Ally. This thing is very popular with like Xbox Game Pass and things of that nature. And this is also going for $650, so the same as the max tier for the Steam Deck, which again puts the Switch right in the right price range for the kind of handhelds that are available on the market right now. The final handheld that some people have been comparing this to is the PlayStation Portal, and it's another fantastic system. Again, I own this particular system, and this one goes for $200. The difference between the PlayStation Portal and the Nintendo Switch is the ability to play games natively. This system is built to stream games. This does not play anything natively. Nothing is installed on this system. You connect it to the internet, you sync it to your PlayStation 5, and you play games on this through your PlayStation 5. If you have the upgraded subscription to the PlayStation Plus, you are able to play games by streaming without the need for the PlayStation 5. However, nothing is being played natively on this. Everything is streamed, so it was reliant on an internet connection to run the games. It plays games phenomenally. I really enjoy my time on it, but nothing is being run specifically from this device, which is why the price point is so much lower for the PlayStation Portal, because there's not the internals on this necessary to run games natively. So based on all this, the price point for the Nintendo Switch system seems pretty appropriate based on the other handhelds on the market right now. It kind of lines up with everything else, and it makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of new cool bells and whistles coming with the new Nintendo Switch 2, and I think it makes sense where it lines up. And again, like I said, most people seem to be on the same page with where the price for the Nintendo Switch 2 is being okay. Everybody seems to agree that this is not the big debate. The big issue comes from the games themselves. So the image that I have here in question is from Walmart, and it shows a handful of different games that are coming out on the Nintendo Switch. Now, we have to go ahead and say that there was this whole debacle if Mario Kart was going to be $90. Overseas, it seems, in Germany, there was a posting where it was €90. And then it spread like wildfire that Mario Kart was $90. As you can see on the website here, this is an $80 title for a physical edition of Mario Kart. $80, not $90, $80. Other games are similarly priced. Looking at Tears of the Kingdom Switch 2 Enhanced version, that is also $80. Mario Party Jamboree, that comes with the Jamboree TV DLC, that is also $80. Kirby Forgotten Lands plus the DLC is going to be $80 on the Switch 2. Donkey Kong, the new Donkey Kong Bonanza, is going to be $70. And then there's some other variable pricing here as well. Street Fighter is a base $60. Looking at Zelda Breath of the Wild Switch 2 version, that is going to be $70 because it is a $10 upgrade from the Switch version of Zelda, which makes sense. And then Bravely Default, which is a 3DS port, is a $40 title. Now, I'm going to come out and say, I'm not agreeing that $80 is a fantastic price point for Mario Kart. I understand, and Tears of the Kingdom, whatever game is $80. I understand people being upset about this. I won't go as far as to say I'm surprised by this development. Just looking at the last generation, moving from PlayStation 5 to the Xbox Series as well, both of those jump from $60 to $70 games. It's a fact of the matter, games are more expensive to make these days. It's just a fact. There's multi-million-dollar budgets going into games, and they are just getting more expensive to make. I'm personally a little surprised that it took 20 years to jump from $60 to $70 games. So after that happened, going from 70 to 80, I felt was just, the writing was on the wall. We kind of already knew that was going to happen. I don't necessarily agree with it. I understand that it's frustrating and upsetting because that is expensive. It is very upsetting that it is so much, but the writing was there, and it's something that we kind of could have seen coming. So for me personally, especially with the rumors that like Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to be $100, I wasn't super shocked by the development that some of these games are going to cost as much as they do. It's simply the way things are. It's just, there was a perfect quote, and it came from Gary Whitta in one of the Kind of Funny podcasts talking about the Switch 2. Complaining about stuff going up in price is kind of like complaining about which way the sun rises in the morning, because of the fact that it's just what happens. It's not something we have to like or agree with, but unfortunately, it's just a reality of the world. So while it is disheartening, I'm not surprised by this. Do I think the games are going to be worth it? That's up for debate for each game individually. Personally, like with Mario Kart specifically, Mario Kart is a game that I'm going to put hundreds and hundreds of hours into. And at $80, that seems like it's worth it to me personally, because if you look at something like an amusement park or a concert, I'm going to spend, $70 for an amusement park to go for a day, or I'm going to spend $150 to $300 on a concert ticket and get 3 hours of enjoyment, versus Mario Kart is $80 and I'm going to get hundreds of hours of enjoyment out of. To me, that matches up. I think that is a worthwhile price. I know others may not agree with me on that, and that's totally fine, but for me personally, that's okay. That's okay for me. It's not great. It's not something I'm thrilled about doing, but I will pay those prices for those games because I will get the monetary value out of them that I personally am looking for. And there's actually an interview with Doug Bowser at Nintendo about this, and the quote reads, "What you see right there is variable pricing," Bowser told the Washington Post. "We'll look at each game, really look at the development that's gone into each game and the breadth and depth of gameplay, and if you will, the durability over time and the repeatability of gameplay experiences. Those are all factors, and there's many more that go into consideration of what the right price is for the game. So I think you can anticipate that there will be variable pricing, and we haven't set a benchmark." This basically reads to me that Mario Kart was worth $80 to them. Same with Tears of the Kingdom. Not every game is going to follow suit with that. We see that already with Donkey Kong being a $70 game and not an $80 game. I'm sure Metroid, whenever they officially reveal when that is coming out, is going to be a $70 game and not an $80 game. Certain titles like Mario Kart, like Zelda, that have those big name and staying powers, those big sellers, those are going to be those $80 games. The ones that take years and years and years to develop, those are going to be the $80 games, versus stuff like Donkey Kong and Metroid that are less popular but still sell a little bit. Those are going to be your $60 to $70 range games. So while again, it is an unfortunate circumstance that we find ourselves in, and unfortunate that games are increasing in price, it is a reality of the world, and games are getting more expensive. Everything in the world is getting more expensive, and the fact that we haven't gotten farther at this point in how much games cost is kind of a good thing. I really, like I said earlier, I was surprised it took so long to go from 60 to 70. I'm just happy we haven't made it to 90 to 100. And I think that's coming. GTA 6, I think, is going to be a $100 game. So as of right now, while it sucks, it is what it is, unfortunately. So in summary, I think personally that the console itself for the Switch 2 is a good price. I think it lines up with everything on the market right now appropriately for what the system is capable of doing and what games are able to actually run like on the system. I think it lines up very, very well with the competitors in the handheld space. As far as the games are concerned, it follows the trend that has been set by PlayStation and Xbox, and while it's unfavorable, it's not unexpected, and I don't think every game is going to cost $80 like Mario Kart. I just don't think that's going to be a thing or a factor that we have to worry about. Will games continue to go up in price? Unfortunately, yes. That is just how things are going to go. But as of right now, I think Mario Kart and like Tears of the Kingdom are going to be kind of the outliers in the data as far as those $80 titles are concerned. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Let me know what you guys think. Are you happy with the Switch price? Are you upset about the game price? Again, if you're happy about everything, like I'm very excited for everything, you're gonna get called a Nintendo shill by somebody. It's just the way the internet works now. I'm personally very excited for everything, and I plan on getting this day one. But let me know what you guys think and give me your rationales in the comments below. But that is going to be it for this video. Hope you all enjoyed. Sub for more Nintendo stuff, and peace.